I really am. I want to spend energy on this because I've been thinking a lot about this based on some of the comments and Instagram posts and deleted Instagram posts. And this is not me throwing crap against a wall. It's not me trying to start something. It's just me simply being curious. You have been around Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown a lot in their formative NBA years. And I'm curious what their relationship is like on a personal level. They say and do all the right things. And I'm not, insinuating, oh, these guys behind the scenes, they don't get along. Nothing like that. I'm just wondering exactly how close are they in your estimation?
I think they're fairly close. I mean, the pandemic has created a little distance with all of us, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think that they have an understanding among each other that they work best when they can work together. And I think Jaylen has embraced the fact that, yeah, Tatum's going to get all that shine and all that love. But guess what? I'm still going to drop 20. I'm still going to defend my ass off. And I'm still going to bring home a 9-figure check from the Boston Celtics. So I'm paid like a great player. I play like a great player. It's just a matter of folks acknowledging me for my talent on the floor at a high level. Whereas Tatum, he's kind of like most of the young rising superstars. He kind of came up through the AAU circuit, did a semester or two in college, became a high lottery pick, and now, he's the man. He's the face of the franchise. And when you're the face of the franchise, there's a lot of ups and downs that come with that. And I think we're seeing kind of the ebb and flow of that right now with Jayson Tatum, the highs of knocking down a bank 3-point shot over the 2-time MVP and the lows of just milking the damn shot clock down on the road against a below average Indiana Pacers team and missing a potential game winner. When we think about the young, great players, we forget that the Michael Jordans of the world needed 6-7 years before they could actually win a championship. LeBron James, 6 or 7 years before he could actually
Jordan also
win.
needed Pippen.
Right. Exactly. And that's where Jaylen comes into play. To me, I think that's the issue and question I think a lot of people need to start thinking about and asking. Is he that Scottie Pippen type player? A guy that can be an elite player, recognized by others as an elite player, but embrace the fact that as good as your ceiling may continue to be and rise to, that guy is always going to be seen as being better than you. Do you have the mental strength to handle that and deal with that? I think Jaylen does, because I think there's a part of Jaylen that says, you know what? I can still drop 30 points pretty much any day and it not be a shot, just like Pippen could. And when it happens, it reminds you that, yeah, he may not be on the same level as Jaylen, but he's pretty damn close.
Well, and there are character differences too, like
Yeah.
substantial ones. And this is no knock on anyone, like in this regard. Like Tatum, I'm not going to pretend to know either of them on a personal level well at all, but just based on what you hear, you read, you see, guys like you have written, Tatum wants to, he wants to be Kobe. He wants to be one of the best NBA players in history. Jaylen Brown has never talked about or fixated on, like, he's out to change the world. Like, yeah. That's, I don't even think, and again, not a criticism, because he is a developing, rapidly ascending, potential perennial all-star young basketball player who, again, is improving every year. So I think Jaylen is great, and I'm incredibly happy with where he is at in his career. So I don't feel like he's spending too much time doing other things, but he is, like, I don't think basketball is even his top priority, So if these guys are to be, I'm not saying they're Pippen and Jordan, but if Brown is Pippen to Tatum's Jordan, to look at it that way, how does internal competitiveness fuel their dynamic? Because as you said, they work best when they work together. Are they always in line, or in a given night is someone trying to, just natural competitiveness? This again, not saying one guy's got an issue with the other, just natural competitiveness on the court. Is one guy ever trying to steal the shine?
Oh God, yes. That doesn't make them special or unique. When I was in Detroit years ago, and you had Rip Hamilton and Chauncey Billups, both were all-stars in their own right, both did a lot of really great things. There were nights when you could tell that, Chauncey was he see Rip wide open and he take a shot, and other nights where he kicked the Rip and Rip would see Chauncey wide open behind a 3-point line, look him off and take a shot. It happens. But to me, the only way it becomes a problem is when you let that competitiveness necessarily get in the way of decision making, but become an issue you can't move past. Like if that happens in a game or two, and you guys have beef that lasts 3, 4, 5, 6 games down the road, that's a problem. But when it happens every now and then, it's part of to me, it's part of the business of being an elite player and being on a really good team.
They need each other. They know they need each other to be successful. The thing I need to see on the floor is Tatum willingly accepting the fact that he needs Jaylen at the end of games to be super clutch. He needs to be engaged on both ends. And to do that, sometimes giving him the ball at the end of the game is a better option.
As I listen to you, Evan, I think about Tommy Heinsohn. And Tommy would often talk about teams.
Has anyone ever said something that nice to you, by the way?
No, never. Not even my own parents.
You're welcome. I think about Tommy when he talks about teams from the standpoint of being a house and how you've got to have this foundation and you got to lay the concrete. And the one thing and again, this is just my knowledge of a house building, which is not that extensive, but extensive enough where this analogy is going to make sense. When you lay the concrete, it has to settle, and that takes time. When you're talking about Jaylen and Jayson in these new roles at the beginning of the season, not kind of a serendipity 1-2, but this is actually playing. This is how the season is beginning. Them as the number 1 and number 2. It's going to take time for them to settle into those roles and be efficient, be reliable, be consistent, be that foundation that this organization needs going forward. And I think with that time, you're going to have some bumps along the way. And I think the point that you make, Evan, about Tatum having to defer from time to time, I think more to the point, Jaylen has to be more demanding. Jaylen knows that as the number 2, he can pretty much get 25, 30 points a night and not ever have to demand the ball. But in those late game situations, I want him to go Keyshawn Johnson and ask, give me the damn ball. And I want to see how Tatum responds to that. I think that is when you'll start seeing a little bit of that, okay, you got it. Because everyone is looking at me. And if I give it to him with an opportunity to put the game away, it's going to help his confidence. It's going to help them loosen things up for me so that when those opportunities come down the road, they're not going to know exactly who to hedge on. Is Tatum going to kick it to Brown? Then I got to worry about Brown. Is Tatum going to take it himself? I got to worry about him doing that. What am I going to do defensively in that point in the game? I think it creates a lot. To me, it creates the happy joy confusion that you want if you're Brad Stevens and the Boston Celtics, and it makes your 2 best players even better. So I understand what you're saying about Tatum needing to really get Brown in position to knock those type of shots down and put teams away. I think Jaylen, conversely, has to be more vocal about wanting that opportunity because he has that skill set in him.